Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Every now and again on this channel, I get to point out laws that should be fixed or corrected. And some of them are painfully obvious. And this is one I cannot believe has not been fixed yet. And that is what happens when a self-driving car breaks the law. It turns out in some places in this country, you can't ticket them because there's no person behind the wheel. And it's like, wait, it'd be very, very easy to change the law to say, well, if there's no person behind the wheel, we ticket who's responsible for the car. And apparently they have not done that yet, at least not out there in San Bruno, California, because there's no box for robot. So San Bruno PD pulled over a Waymo, seemingly fleeing a DUI checkpoint, and they couldn't give it a ticket. So Nina Singh Hudson wrote for Hoodline.com, Friday night's DUI enforcement operation in San Bruno took an unexpected turn when officers watched a Waymo autonomous vehicle perform an illegal U-turn right in front of their checkpoint. And it left police curious to what was going on because there was nobody in the driver's seat when they pulled it over. So they're doing a checkpoint. They see a car coming, pulling an illegal U-turn. They track it down. No one's driving. The incident occurred during a grant-funded DUI operation when the self-driving Jaguar I-Pace made the illegal maneuver at a traffic light, according to KTVU. San Bruno Police Department's social media post about the stop captured the surreal moment to an officer peering into an empty vehicle. No driver, no hands, no clue, police wrote in their witty Facebook post. But here's the kicker. They couldn't issue a citation because citation books don't have a box for robot. The San Bruno incident highlights California's ongoing legal limbo around autonomous vehicles and traffic enforcement. Current state law requires moving violations be issued to human drivers, leaving police powerless to cite robo-taxis for traffic infractions, as reported by the San Francisco Chronicle. Officers contacted Waymo reps to report this, but the vehicle then drove away scot-free. Now, here's the problem. If this is statewide and they don't know what to do, real simple solution is you say someone must be in control of that vehicle. The vehicle is not literally out just doing whatever it wants to do. Somebody is in control of it. Somebody must be in control of it. Whoever's in control of it or in charge of it gets the ticket. How hard is that? And you're going to say, but Steve, that might not be fair. Oh, no, it's fair. Let's suppose that I lived at the top of a hill. And one day I forgot to put my car in park, didn't set the e-brake, and my car just rolled backwards down my driveway, down the hill, down at the bottom of the hill. It hit a bunch of stuff and injured some people. Well, you can't write me a ticket. I wasn't driving. My car just rolled away on its own. My car was autonomous at that moment in time. Now, you're going to say, Steve, your car was not autonomous because it wasn't driving. Doesn't matter. Point is, my car did a bunch of stuff. Whose fault was that? Mine. Somebody is in charge of that car. Whoever is in charge of that car should get a ticket. And before you say, how do we know who's in charge of the car? You say, well, if you license the car and you're going to put it on the road autonomously, you have to assign a responsible driver. Someone will be on the hook for anything it does stupid. That's not that complicated. This legal gray area will not last forever, though, because starting next year, a new assembly bill will allow police officers to issue notices of autonomous vehicle noncompliance to companies when their cars break traffic laws. However, critics note the new law stops short of actually allowing citations with fines, creating what the Teamsters call unequal enforcement compared to human drivers. The San Bruno U-turn adds to a growing list of Waymo traffic violations across the Bay Area. In San Francisco alone, the company's fleet accumulated 589 parking tickets in 2024, and those fines, according to Gizmodo, added up to $65,000. Now, the question is, were they paid or not? I suspect they were. So if the car is willing to pay a fine, it should be willing to get a traffic ticket. The violations, by the way, range from blocking traffic to parking in prohibited zones while vehicles waited for passengers or between rides. Meanwhile, federal regulators have launched investigations into reports of Waymo vehicles failing to obey traffic laws. The company's expansion into San Mateo County, including San Bruno, began last year for employees and opened to the public in August of that year, according to San Mateo Daily Journal. There's a certain dark humor in a robot car potentially avoiding a DUI checkpoint, especially when autonomous vehicles are often marketed as a solution to drunk driving. Waymo's own policies prohibit passengers from drinking alcohol while in the vehicles, though the policy doesn't address passengers who are already intoxicated getting in. The legal questions around autonomous vehicles and alcohol remain complex. While fully autonomous vehicles like Waymo operate without human drivers, passengers could theoretically face DUI charges if they are deemed to be in control of the vehicle. Now, again, if you get into a Waymo, who's in control of it? I don't think the passengers would be deemed to be in control of it. Somebody else is in control of it. And that other person should be responsible for the tickets it gets. So Waymo issued a standard response to the incident stating their autonomous driving system is designed to respect the rules of the road, and they're looking into it, as reported by KTVU. The company typically investigates such incidents and issues software updates across their entire fleet when problems are identified. For the San Bruno police, the incident serves as a preview of law enforcement's future. As the department noted in their social media post, they're committed to keeping streets safe, whether it's drivers, passengers, or driverless cars. They also reminded residents that legislation is in the works to give police more authority over autonomous vehicles. Until then, San Bruno officers will continue their DUI enforcement operations with the understanding that some traffic violators might not have pulses, just processors. And like I said, this is one of the easiest fixes of all time. All they got to do is go into their vehicle code, and this is true in any state, go into any vehicle code and say, when a traffic offense occurs, the driver of the vehicle will be ticketed. However, if the vehicle is driverless, i.e. autonomous, instead, the ticket will go to the person in charge. And then elsewhere in the code, it's got to say, all vehicles that are being driven by their drivers, but autonomous vehicles must have designated a person who is in charge of that vehicle, who's responsible for that vehicle. And that's one of the things, I'm sure you've heard this before, where the states, DMVs or Secretary of States, whatever you have in your state, they talk about driver responsibility. And just because you figured out a way to get a car to drive without a driver doesn't make the responsibility go away. Someone's got to be responsible. So I'm assuming the cars carry insurance, right? They must be carrying insurance. So they're liable for accidents they cause, at least financial responsibility. But you're telling me that no one's responsible if they get in an accident and no one gets a ticket? What if this Waymo decided to drive at 100 miles an hour and it got pulled over for speeding? Can't give it a ticket. So basically what you're telling me then is until this law gets rewritten, these things have carte blanche to speed, because speeding tickets can't be issued to a robot. Now, I know you're going to say, but Steve, they're not doing that. You're making up facts. I'm simply pointing out the absurdity of it. This is pretty straightforwardly absurd to say, if I drive 100 miles an hour, I get a ticket. If Waymo or equivalent drives 100 miles per hour, they can't give it a ticket because there's no box for robot to check on the ticket. Okay, these things have been around for a little while now. It shouldn't have been that hard to fix this, especially because I'm pretty sure that before they put them on the road, they went to the legislatures and said, we're going to put these things on the road. What do we do? And nobody bothered to think what happens if they break the law. And so, if nothing else, the legislatures are passing on a huge opportunity to raise revenue. Tickets, raise money. I can't believe they lost that. They didn't go for that. Think of all the money they could have gotten giving these things tickets. We can't because there's no box for robot. The first ticket that didn't get written because there's no box for robot should have caused every single legislator in Sacramento to go, something just happened where we didn't make some money. What's going on here? Hold on. Missed opportunity for a revenue stream. Something's going on. So I can't believe that it it could never be done. Yes, it could be. Really simple. Simple fix. But apparently, they're going to fix it in July of next year. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, Nina Singh Hudson wrote this. Alan sent it to me. Thanks a lot. No box for robot. San Bruno PD. Pull over Waymo. Seemingly fleeing DUI checkpoint. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Doing a job right the first time gets the job done. Doing the job wrong 14 times gives you job security.